Welcome to the bold analysis. Resurgence of extrajudicial executions is a big stab on our democracy. Kenya needs a hard reset and a cleanup of our law enforcement institutions if we are to be safe in our own country. We can't continue normalizing abductions, brutality, and torture and murder. We can't continue normalizing impunity because normalizing that is a blatant disregard for the human life. We must not stop demanding accountability for the very life lost. We need to hear the president's voice on the brutal murder, execution of Albert Omondi, who actually died in police custody, according to police statement. But in this podcast, I combed through the night, the reaction from our leaders, the steps from the law enforcement agencies, and I've crystallized a very interesting analysis, a mind-blowing analysis here, as we strive to answer one question: what is the untold truth about OJWAN'G's murder? Welcome to The Bold. Kindly subscribe to our channel, click the notification bell and like our videos, and thank you very much for supporting this podcast. Subscribe. Subscription is absolutely free, and if you can look at the screen, that's where you subscribe and you click the notification bell so that no amount is going to be deducted from your account because you subscribe to a YouTube channel. The advantage is when we publish our well-analyzed and objective videos, you will not miss any of them because you'll be getting notifications. And without much ado, I have broken down the OJWAN'G's murder into four. Of course, we're going to make four key observations on the murder of OJWAN'G. And the first observation is the state hand in murder. State hand in everything. And let me start here. Contrary to the standard headline that you can see here about killed by police, this is a narrow observation because yes, the police are involved in it as the key executor. But if you look at the nature of execution, this is a well-planned activity, and the state is a victim of its own blunder. Yes, and I agree with those who are saying Kenya Kwanza has just committed another blunder. Police work under a chain of command, and what Professor Kagwanja is saying here is something that really explains my point on state hand.
There is something they call in philosophy public lynching. Those who like reading will remember the book by the French philosopher Michel Foucault. It's called Discipline and Punish. And what is brought there is the behavior of the leadership when leadership is confronted by increasing criticism from the public. And they are afraid of their shadows, and then they look to every shadow they see in the public, they want to silence it. And in order to do that, you want to turn this into a public spectacle. The moving of OJWAN'G from Homa Bay, 385 kilometers across to Nairobi. Remember how many cities and towns he has passed through.
They had lunch somewhere now.
And finally, you're here at the Central Police Station. Like your detainment is more special than anything else. And then finally, you have your resting place at the city mortuary. That reminds me of Monsieur Damir in Foucault's Discipline and Punish. That you have to be tortured all the way. In fact, they even describe the instruments that are going to deal with you at every minute as you go. And you are every time reminded you have to say sorry to the monarch. these are the texts we have been taught in school and we are aware of faith. So what is the point here? That the Gen Z last year presented a challenge that the state had no answer to. I remember I was having a discussion with one of my students who is a PS at that particular time, and we were saying, what do we do with this? And nobody had an answer. Mm-hmm. And what you are saying is a panic response.
They cannot clean themselves from the mess. I want you to imagine arrested in Homa Bay and driven more than 300 kilometers to Central Police Station in Nairobi. He passed more than 500 police stations, driven to Nairobi. Specifically, they say that the gentleman had login details of another blogger who was arrested, Kelvin Mwinde from Kisii. And Albert execution looks premeditated. From why specific station? Why Central? And you also see how the arrest was done in a soft way. In fact, the scheme was simple. When you listen to his father explaining on how arrest was done, you would not, the family could not think of an intent that the son was going to lose life. The arresters, the people who arrested Albert, they were soft. Yes, they handcuffed and wakamshika kwa pingo. But being arrested in front of the parent, of the father, they were so soft about it. And the father just made a meeting. I know if they would have done it in a brutal manner, it would have raised suspicion of the fate. And maybe Kenyans would have started making noise by Saturday afternoon after he was arrested. But then this is a lesson. If you think your person, your relative, or someone has just been arrested and casually, and so you should not make noise about it because you look at the casual arrest, then maybe you are wrong. Every arrest is a danger to life. And remember what they made in his phone call. He actually said he was safe.
Kevo pia ko huko Mwinde. Acha tupanga sana verify information juu watu waniambia, alafu wasoka niambia umempigania hapa, nikamwambia nipe, so ndo nimecall. Nikamwambia nilikuwa nataka kuverify, alafu acha tupange, alafu tujue kama tutafika kesho Central.
Sawa mzee.
Mungu apeleka Central, jina nani alipelekwa Kamkunji?
Central.
Sawa, kesho hata kama sio utakamlinda, ndafika hivyo Central kesho.
Okay.
Sawa mzee. Hizo mambo tafiti,
Mike ndani? How is it mzee? Mimi I've never experienced this.
Nishaikoa inda, so mambo takuwa fiti. Kutakuwa na challenges hapa na pale, lakini mambo takuwa fiti. Usitensive tu. Nakwambia utakuwa na challenges hapa na pale, lakini mambo itakuwa fiti. Nishaikoa inda, so mambo itakuwa poa. Na Inda is one of the worst police stations in Nairobi. So
like nitakuwa safe hapo ndani.
Nini?
Will I be safe?
Light?
Safe.
Yeah. Rumande is safe.
And analysts and opinion shapers are talking of resurgence. This is a strategic resurgence akin to what happened in 1980s. Now, over the night, and I'm still under the state hand, over the night, the activists, online activists, were actually regrouping and planning a protest on Thursday. And throughout the night, I think if you followed Twitter, there's a tweet space about all that. And the police boss, IG Kanja, made interdictions that some of us think are just part of the corporate moves to try to cool the tempers. And something is very keen about the statement from the IG Kanja. And that is why I want us to read that statement because, okay, The National Police Service wishes to inform the public that following the tragic death of Mr. Albert Ojwang while in police custody at Central Police Station, Nairobi, and to ensure thorough, impartial, expeditious investigations by IPOA, National Police Service has ordered interdiction of the following officers with immediate effect. One is the officer commanding OCS, the duty officer on duty during the night, cell sentry on duty at the time, all officers who are on duty at the report office that night, any other officer found to have been on duty or otherwise involved during the incident. And while I was just watching Spice FM, there is a very important question that Spice FM journalists were asking about this letter, and I will want you to just listen to this here.
Still, I can't.
You see, if you look at the change in language from the police officers, for me, I think where the investigation should have started is the DCI officers who picked him up. Because remember, he was picked up in Homa Bay County. How was the drive from Homa Bay County all the way to Nairobi? Why hadn't the DCI officers been summoned to give their account while they were bringing him to Nairobi? Why is the police silent on that part of the arrest? He was arrested on what exactly? Because then again, he was arrested. He was taken to Central Police Station. Was he booked in? Do we have an OB report on the same? Because then the drive to Nairobi would have informed how this individual would be put in jail. I mean, I have been to Central Police Station. Was he in an isolation cell? Was he alone? If he was together with the other inmates, what is the statement of accounts from the other inmates about his how he was behaving while in the custody? So there's a lot of information that are not being given here.
Yes. Very clear point. The statement is not talking about the arrest. The investigation should start with those who arrested him. Yes. What was the charge? Why didn't they present him in court? So, but again, that investigation seemed to have narrowed to the police cell. Of course, yes, it's true. That is where probably his life was taken. The second observation I want us to make is the lukewarm stand by the political leadership from Luoland. And someone would want to ask me a question. We are seeing the whole country, leaders across the political divide, all course from all regions are commenting about this. And we've been demanding a stand from them. Why? Because they responded when Odour died. And of course, they have an agreement with ODM, with the president, that extrajudicial executions should be something of the past. Now, the silence of the Luo leadership is a clear indication that this country has two distinct tribes, the eaters and the eaten. Albert's death is not an issue to the eating Luo elites. When Charles Odour was killed, they were quick. Jojo Pondo Kaluma led entire Nyanza MPs pressurizing the government to act, and because he was a honorable member, indeed, Kaluma wailed uncontrollably about this. Governor was also reacting. And so when I see people then saying we are in broad-based government, you need to specifically bring your senses, put your senses together, piece your senses together, and understand that there are those who are privileged eating, and they're the ones that don't want table manners, and there are those who are not eating. Albert is a hustler, and that is why your leaders are not talking about it. Last night, the country was pressurizing them to respond, and I saw one thing I can describe as a corporate statement from Governor Gladys Wanga's secretariat. Yes, indeed, it's a good move. They gave a statement. I may not be comfortable with the tone of the statement, but of course they gave a statement. I'm waiting for the mighty ODM party to see what they say. Statement: the tragic death of Albert Ojwang. I wish to register with my profound concern about the distressing reports surrounding the death of Albert Ojwang, a young man from Homa Bay County, while in police custody at Central Police Station, Nairobi. I want to extend my deepest condolences to the family, friends, and community of Albert Albert OJWAN'G during this unimaginable painful time. No family should suffer the loss of a loved one under such unclear, troubling circumstances, especially while in custody of state institution sworn to protect lives. I want to call upon the relevant authorities to hold thorough, independent, transparent investigations into the events leading to Albert's death. Let me tell you, why I'm saying it's a corporate statement is, this is a statement that anyone can give because is the chairperson of ODM party. And the ODM party signed a deal of bringing an end to extrajudicial executions. In my own wildest thinking, maybe, I was expecting that document to be invoked. That is what we want to address to. And for me, I'm insisting it's not about the police. It's about the president. Now, if you want to know, just to show the lukewarm stand by the broad-based fellows, one day appeared in the Fixing the Nation program by the Nation, and when he was asked about this, I think the Energy CS was corporately cooling nerves and saying, calling for people just to be calm.
I want to appreciate the fact that as we speak, we are not privy to all the details surrounding his untimely or unfortunate demise. But having said so, it's also important to appreciate the fact that the government, through the National Police Service, has issued a preliminary statement that was done yesterday. That is pending full investigations. That statement was issued as a preliminary measure because investigations, as I understand it, are underway. We can only then comment authoritatively once the investigations are complete. But I must also commend the police because as a first step, the IG of police has actually suspended the key officers within the service who might have been aware of the happenings or should have taken some action around the unfortunate demise of this gentleman. So what I can say for now is to basically appeal for calm as we await these investigations to be completed. Yeah, appeal for calm and understanding, yes, from all Kenyans, and especially the family and friends of this young man. Yeah.
I don't know, I find the calls for calm are a little too little too late, because I think calm should have been exercised much earlier, don't you think? Whether it was by the police officers that arrested him, by the state in many incidences, I don't know. I feel like it's a bit too little too late to call for calm. No?
Usually, when such incidents occur, they evoke a lot of emotions, naturally, and until and unless you get to understand the circumstances, first and foremost, surrounding his arrest and how eventually he met his death, is going to be very difficult to comment. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, the authority.
We'll continue to follow the story.
He's calling for calm because he is eating and trying to observe table manners. Too late, too little. It's the police who are supposed to be calm. Yes. Those who are arrested, who are supposed to be calm. On emotions, I don't think they have the control. I don't know whether calm is targeting the father of Albert, who was wailing and crying profusely yesterday in City Mortuary. I don't know whether this statement befits the state of that father, who is saying Albert was his only child. Only child, didn't have a sister, didn't have a brother. And that man is beaten to the core. Now, I want to warn, and I want to put up this. It is very regrettable by the kind of, the kind of psychophancy we are having, and how that psychophancy has turned, has turned Luo Nation into a laughing stock. Let's look at two. I'm just sharing these two. I want us to look at these two tweets because of These are state bloggers, and I just want you to look at the state bloggers, but pro broad-based. Look at Makolonde. The same people actively pushing for the presidential candidacy of Matiang'i, who killed and drowned hundreds of Luos in Rivayala for just refusing to participate in repeat election 2017, have wailed the whole night over the death of one Luo. It is certainly they want justice. Bwana, kwendeni huko with your cognitive dissonance. I still repeat that what happened to the young man is very sad, and anyone involved must be prosecuted, but we aren't buying your crocodile tears and fake Wamunyoro outrage. Even the blind can see your twisted agenda. You can skip critic, you can skip critique, unfriend and block, but you are not allowed to insult me. A real leader should let people abuse them. Who came up with such? Okay. So the broad-based axis in Kenya, in the broad-based axis on ODM is saying that we should not comment, we should not push for this because, we should not push for this because allegedly, according to him, this happened at first. And those who are, yes, fine, let's believe that the Wamunyoros are not commenting, then why don't they then take up the matter? Because sasa si wao wanasema wako sawa. Why don't the broad-based axis take up the matter? Let me show you another one, and that's why I'm telling you this issue of we're in government. I'm telling you, let me just look at this. Look at what Dikembe is saying. Albert Ojwang is meant to manufacture Luo rage, desperation to bring the Luo to the war. Popular ex-influencer on a non-existent handler. So because I'm not a Luo, George Njoroge is saying, I shouldn't be angry that a young man was murdered in cold blood. Is justice now tribal too? Albert Ojwang didn't die for PR. He died in custody under the states that's gotten too comfortable with bloodshed. Be angry, boss. Wacha fujo. In fact, tell him, wacha ujinga. Yes. Na tuwache ujinga. Tuwache ujinga. Someone cannot die, and then someone wants to bring some very fake tribal thing. How desperate can it be? I like his argument that popular ex-influencer, because I'm going to say something about it. This issue of Twitter, I am not personally buying it, and that is supposed to bring me to the other third observation about it, the social media framing. Let's and from that point, I don't see it. Let's look at the third observation, the fourth observation, the police cell fall play. This story of he fell inside a police station. And today, in a very interesting development, the police boss IG Kanja, accompanied by DIG Langat and Masengeli, made their way to Central Police Station. And surprisingly, Albert accuser is DIG Langat, and himself, he was present in that press briefing. And in a statement from IG Kanja, the story has changed. Yesterday night, the statement was that Albert fell by the cell wall, fell at the cell wall, and that's why he had bruises. Today, IG is saying that they went there at 1 a.m. and found him unconscious. And so when they went to the hospital, when they took him to the hospital, he was pronounced dead.
With me, I have the two DIGs, Mr. Ngat and Mr. Masegeri, and also the Deputy DCI. And we are also accompanied by the Chair of IPOA, Independent Police Oversight Authority, because they are the ones undertaking the investigations as mandated by the law. So, I have a brief chronology of events that led to the death of Albert Omodi Ojwang. On Friday, 6th June 2025, Albert Omodi Ojwang was arrested in Homa Bay County by DCI detectives for the offense of false publication. Records indicate that he was transported to Nairobi, where he was questioned by officers from the DCI headquarters on Saturday. He was later booked at the Central Police Station at the occurrence book number 136/7/6/2025 at 21:35 hours. During a routine cell inspection, Ojwang was found unconscious. He was immediately lodged to Bagathi Hospital for treatment, as documented at the occurrence book number 9/08/06 of 2025 at 01:39 hours. Upon arrival, he was declared dead. Ojwang was arrested together with a few others. It's because there was a complaint that had been launched by the DIG KPS about his name being tarnished. So it is on that basis that investigations were actually being carried out, because he also have got a right to be protected by the same law. Thank you. Bismillah. As the IG has said, we were informed about the death of the young man in police custody yesterday. Actually, the IG sent me a copy of the signal. And so from last night, we had already commenced the investigations. We have dispatched our team here.
This is inconsistent. This is not consistent with the statement from Albert's father, who is saying that the face had bruises. And in a very shocking twist, the investigator, the chair for IPOA, Isaac Hassan, is accompanying the person that he's supposed to investigate. IPOA is supposed to investigate the police. Then he's standing there next with the police bosses. Too bad. And to the father, no justice will be served here. It is just the same script, the same game, just different players, but the same thing. Not so much is coming out of this. Albert was isolated from other inmates in a remand. Why? No explanation to that. Number two, if he was in his own room, did he fall when he was getting inside? So was he pushed when he was getting inside? And if that was it, then aliingia jioni. So he would have been taken. What kind of impact on his sukumu anguka to once, and it happens. Remember, the account of falling is inconsistent with what police are saying, with what the family are saying, because the family are saying that the face and the shoulder has bruises and part of the hand. And it's like he was being hit with an object and then he was trying probably to protect his face. For example, ukiona kama huku kuna bruises, that means maybe someone is hitting and then was trying to put his hand to prevent, just to protect the face. So the question, the point here is, The suicide narrative of the point of someone fell and blah blah, that doesn't exist. And so I think the explanation should be on who killed, who got inside his room and beat him up. The body was taken to the morgue at night. He was charged. He was supposed to be charged on Monday in a court of law. Who is this that wanted Albert dead? And that is why I arrive at the real truth. The real truth is dead. Whether intended or otherwise, Albert murder was premeditated to intimidate the masses. Yes, we are in the month of June. This is the month that since Ruto came to power, there have been protests. The message is out there as to whether how many people you interdict, you arrest, but there is fear. People fear. The other truth is, man dying under the watch of police is exposing the corrosion of the system. And that is why we are insisting that the president must actually give an account on this. It is a corrosion of the system. It's about command. Police officers, even the junior police officers, cannot execute such without a command from somewhere. And that is why we are talking of a corrosion. And if indeed, probably it was a Twitter post that maligned one of the officials, then why would official use the police service to settle a personal score? And that's why it gets down to corrosion of the system. The motive of the murder goes beyond social media post. The social media post is a frame created so that those who are activists in social media can be intimidated. But if you look, there is no post. We cannot even see the Twitter handle of the deceased. So how do you even substantiate that? And normalizing police brutality and getting away with such executions in the past is the danger the state is putting itself. When this happened last year, the president protected perpetrators. Yes, the president protected perpetrators when this happened last year. So, we've made it normal. And that is the real truth. Who wanted Albert dead?